Hello, Internet, and welcome to Code. Today I'm going to be starting my 4-part series on how to build a C# API. For people who haven't really been experienced with APIs or you don't know what an API is, think of it as a post office, and what you do is that you would send your request to the post office. They would process it, and then they would give you a response saying, hey, your message was sent, or there was incidents along the way, and okay, so an API is an application programming interface. So I'd like to imagine that a API sits in between your database and your front-end applications. So an API is mostly implemented with a client-to-server sort of architecture. That's where it normally thrives the best. And I think that's the only place where it could be implemented. Your mobile devices, your laptops, and other APIs would actually query your API for requests such as maybe they want a bunch of names from the database, or they want you to give them a URL, or they want to save something, or whatever. Your API would normally sit on the server, and it would process those requests to the database, and mostly your clients would be say Android phones, iPhones, or whatever that the customers or the users are using to hit your server. And so in this diagram, you'd see that your API would actually sit on the application server, where it would be just in the middle of the DB and your client. Now we're gonna dive into actually creating one, and we'll see how that goes. So okay, and then click OK. Alright, if we look at our Solution Explorer here, you'd see that there's a lot of default folders. You have your controllers here, you have your views here, you have your areas. But mainly, I think going forward, you'd see me coming in here, interacting with my controllers, and also interacting with my views. But we won't be doing that in this video. Probably because we are focusing on APIs, and so it's just mostly controllers and models. Okay. So in this video, what I will try and do is just create a new controller, of which you could send your name and your surname to, and it'll bring it back. It'll bring back your name and surname together in a different field. Okay. Okay. So if we just run this now and see what's there already, we should be able to see our views controller and the documentation. Okay. Okay, as you can see here, this is our default page. So if we click here in API, we should see a documentation for the endpoints that are already there. Okay, and as you can see here, there's a values controller, and it has these endpoints. So it has your get, and your post, your put, and your delete. These are the 4 verbs that are present in like all APIs. That's what you work with to request values or data from the API. So you normally use your get to request for something, say request for a user details page, and you'd use post to create something, and you'd use put to edit something, and lastly you'd use delete to obviously delete something. According to our documentation, if we type API / values / okay, if we type that, we'll start the first one. We should get something back, and we do. We get a value 1 and a value 2 in there. Okay, let's go back. In order for us to do a post, we would need to use another tool. I prefer using Postman, so I'm going to start up Postman now. So right in there, we could type the Alright, we still get values here when we type in API values. Okay, now we'll be able to change our verbs from here, and we'll go with a post and see what happens. So if we do this, okay, now we'll go on to adding our own controller. So we'll come in here, controller, select Web API, we'll choose an empty one, we'll say users. Okay, so our plan is to create a controller that concatenates your first name and your second name and puts it into a separate field. Okay, let's try that. So good practices would be for you to actually create a public constructor here, Another good practice that we won't follow in this video is for you to have implemented an actual model to return back. Okay, so it's gone to we will return an HTTP action result. If it was MVC, it would be an actual action result. Okay, and let's say get full name. So, name and surname would be our parameters. So, before I start, here you'd actually add an attribute to say what verb this endpoint would actually respect. So, here we're doing a get, so we'll say here HTTP get. Alright, so we'll come in here and then we will create we'll come in here and create a new anonymous object. So it'll be name equals to name, and surname equals to surname, and full name equals to name plus surname. Let's put in spaces in here. And this is the old way of doing it. I'm going to show you the new way now. Oh, we seem to have an error. Okay. So, if you read the error, it says we cannot convert an anonymous type to an action result. Absolutely right, Visual Studio. So we can come in here and return this. Okay, so this will return an 200 status of OK with this model. Okay, let's save. Now let's test our API. Is it running? No, it's not running. Okay. It is running now. Okay. So let's check the documentation first. Oh, okay. So our users controller seems to be added here automatically. Okay, let's query this and see what happens. Okay, so now we're going to query our users endpoint. So what I like about Postman is that you could put in your parameters in here. They have a way of exposing an interface to enter them in. So you can come in here and you can click Okay. Let's make the request. What do you know? Comes through. Name, code, surname, semicolon, full name, code, semicolon. So yeah, guys, that was it. So guys, join me next time when I'm querying for complex types, meaning classes, and querying with classes and getting them back as well. All right.